So I recently posted a video demoing a few micro interactions made inside of Figma. So let me show you those. We got this cool floating logo that bounces around and changes colors when it hits the edge. We've also got this where it's a record, and when I drag this little needle onto it, it starts playing. And we also have a cool little animated slider here where basically when you turn on this toggle, it scales down, drops in a few new icons. So we're gonna make all of that from scratch. It's gonna be super fun, so let's get into it. So first off, I've got this cool login screen, and it's really simple, but I want it to be more fun. So we could simply just add this little extra bump that kind of bounces around from spot to spot. So what we're gonna do is basically just make sure that it's at a corner edge already, and then duplicate this over, bring it out, and just slide it to a different spot, right? Until it gets to an edge. Always make sure that we're getting to the edges. That way, that's where it's gonna be bouncing off of, right? So and then we'll loop it back around so that way it comes up, bounces, hits this edge, and back. So the fact that it's going down this way, it's gotta kind of go back down this way. So we'll just bump it to like something around here. Okay. And then we'll move this over, bring it. It's gonna bounce down. Maybe it gets like so close to the corner, but I don't think we should. We're gonna edge, you guys. We're not gonna actually hit the edge. Yeah, it's not gonna hit the corner. It's gonna be just shy of it. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll bring this over, bump it to the far edge, bring it up. So it's like kind of bounce, right? And here we go. Okay, now it's going back up. And maybe it kind of just goes up to that spot too. Like so it goes from here to up and then it stops, right? I think that's a good spot. So that's a little bit less frames than I did on my demo, but I think that it can work. So right there, I just basically auto layouted everything so it's a little bit easier to work with since it doesn't have a gap anymore. I'm just gonna simply undo that as well, like kind of ungroup it all. So that way we've got this frames all sitting back on it as well. Okay, so I'm gonna press Shift E to get over to the prototype tab. So just grab the frame and drag it over. And from there, instead of on click, we're gonna make this after delay. We'll set this delay to 0, and basically the lowest amount that we can do is 1 millisecond. But I'd like to just type 0 because I'm going from my mouse over there instead of moving my left hand. It's like a small stupid thing. But anyways, we're changing instant to smart animate. And this one, we should make it linear because it's basically going to bounce. We don't want it to kind of like speed up as it bounces, but we will be changing this around a little bit. So I'm going to just start with 1,000 milliseconds on each of these transitions, but we're probably going to have to update those mostly because each of these distances are a little bit different, right? So we're going to have to kind of scale out and up and down the times on those transition durations. So just go ahead and repeat those steps really quick, bring it all the way out, make sure that you're updating the delay to 0 milliseconds. And we've now got it set up, done. And one good check to look at, because I actually just skipped it on accident, is you see this little dot right here. So that dot is very important. Basically, that means that it's an after delay. And you can see now that when we're zooming out, there's no dot here. And when we zoom in, there's an after delay here, but not an after delay showing here. And that's because I forgot to switch it from click to after delay. So just a simple thing. Make sure you bump that to 0. Okay. So now let's just go test it out. See what this is going to look like on our prototype, right? Okay, it's looking pretty good. Oh, you see that? That was a big one. Oh, let's loop it back, actually. Just forgot that one little step. So we'll loop it back all the way to the home screen, the original starting point. We'll set an after delay for that. Same deal, 0 milliseconds, so it's moving. Okay, perfect. So it's bouncing, very slow. We got to speed that one up. And then very slow there too. So it's not too bad otherwise, right? It seems like a relatively the same amount of distance between each. And one little trick when you're working with prototypes like this that are like very chain heavy like this is bump it down like that. And like these stair steps, and it's easier to grab each individual little point. It's like one of those annoying things where if they're all flat, like let me show you, if they're all flat, then they're going to sit where it's like really hard to grab this one that goes over here, So just a small little tip there. Okay, so we've got this. Let's swap this linear. That one's pretty good. going to here is pretty good. And this one, I think I'm going to speed this one or slow this one down just a little bit, like add another 100 milliseconds to that. And then this, I think we got to take it to like 200 only because it's basically just boom, boom, right? And then back to here, it goes to 1,000. That's fine. But then heading back to the home, that's a lot. That's a lot shorter of a distance. So let's put it to like 600, maybe 400. Let's just try 400. See how that looks. Shift space to see the preview. Let's go. Okay, that's still too slow. That's pretty good. That was a little bit too fast though. Okay, so bump this to 500. You kind of have to eyeball this. And like, why are we doing this? Because it's fun. Okay, we're learning prototyping. We're testing things out. That's why it's awesome to just like play inside of Figma, right? Oh, that was way too slow. Okay, went the wrong way there. Maybe try 150. Okay, here we go. Still too slow there. That's a little fast there. Yeah, okay. This one going backwards is too fast. So I'm going to make this, probably bump that to 200. Maybe make this, let's just try 100 and see how that goes. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. It's still too slow. Yeah, okay. So this is too fast still. So I'm going to put that to like 1,500 instead of 1,200. And this is still too slow. So I'm going to cut that in half down to 50 milliseconds. Let's see. June, doom. Yeah, that's perfect. Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've got this. What I noticed too was the angle is a little off on this. So I'm going to kind of go upwards a little bit on that. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. That's still a little bit too fast right here. Okay, I think that's enough. We've perfected it enough. That feels good. Speed's good on that. Perfect. Okay. So now the trick is on those old DVD players on these loaders that happen, that they used to change these colors, right? So we could kind of change the selection color. Maybe we make this one green. Maybe we make this one like a orange. We'll bump that one to like a teal, maybe purple. Yeah, I like purple. And then, yeah, and I think this one goes back to blue. And then maybe this one goes back to green. Well, okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's cut this in threes. So let's make only 3 colors. So maybe we jump right to the purple here. No. Let's leave orange. I like orange. So we're gonna make this one go back to blue. Okay. Then we're gonna make this one go back to the green. And then we'll make this one go back to the orange. I color picked that incorrectly there. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we've got it to where it should transition properly. Okay, and this is looking okay. And this, like, you know, if you were kind of like a normal person, you would probably leave it here and just be like, yeah, I made a fun little thing. Here's the thing. But we're not normal people, you and I. You and I, we are going to stop and really dive into this and overkill this, okay? Because I don't like the way that this is transitioning, right? Going from orange to blue, it gets gray, right? Nah, looks ugly, right? Here's how we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that with variables. So let's unselect everything, go to local variables. I'm going to create a new variable collection. We're going to call this loader color. Colo. Yeah, Colo's good. So I'm going to create one color, and then I'm going to color pick that blue. Okay, boom. All right, now here's the trick. We need to create a new mode, okay? We'll call this one, there you go, 1, 2. We'll call this one 3, and we'll put this one at the orange. Okay, cool. Perfect. So we've got those 3 modes. Now all we have to do is set all of these to the same exact color. And what will that color be? Well, that color is going to be the blue variable, right? So I'm going to swap these over, go to my library, head over to loader colo. There we go. We got color set. Perfect. Okay. So now what do we do now? Well, here's the thing. So we could go switch this over, and we've now got this variable thing showing up here. So we can switch this to mode 2. We could switch this to mode 3. Okay, so we've got that, but the trouble is that's still going to transition, right? That's still going to transition. So we need to actually change this in the prototype itself, okay? We don't want to swap modes from the frame level. We want to swap modes in the prototype mode switching. So here we go. So inside of this interaction right here, we're going to press this little plus button, okay? We're going to create a set variable mode spot, and we're going to make that variable mode, colo, we're going to go to mode 2. And then we just need to drag it to the top, right? And the new UI on the UI 3 inside of Figma is really nice now, because you can have control over managing this side, like so the actual state thing, and then which one goes first, right? And it needs to go first. This setting variable mode needs to go first, because if we move it over to the next frame, it's not going to continue to the next spot, because it's already going to be on the next thing, already doing some transitions over there. So we need to make sure that the setting the variable mode gets up atop on above that. So let me switch back over to the old previous UI inside of Figma, and just a small change that we need to manage here is essentially just collapse these two and move it. You cannot move this when it's not collapsed, okay? So if you're on the old UI, move this, collapse everything down, move it up, okay? Now I'm gonna go back to the new UI, yeah, because we live in that world right now. So we're navigating to it. So we just need to go repeat those steps, right? So I'm gonna press the plus button, I'm gonna set variable mode, we're gonna switch this from loader color 2 to mode 3, move this up, and let's just keep repeating these steps, right? So plus, we'll set the variable mode, move it up, color, moving it back to 1, right? Because we go blue, green, orange, blue, right? So now we're moving to blue. Now the next step is to do that again. So now we're going to move it into orange, or green, sorry. So move this up, loader color, mode 2. Are we at mode 1? Yes, we're at mode 1. Now we're at mode 2. And then now we do the plus button again, variable mode, move this up, color, mode 3. And finally, we will just move this guy, press the plus button, variable mode, color, mode 1, because we're moving it back to blue. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Boom, boom. Look how nice that is, right? As it changes, as it hits, it's going to automatically update. This is dope, right? I like it. I like it. So you got that. So it's super tight, feels very retro, much more retro than the transitional one, right? So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Now let's get on to the next step, because the next one is going to be just as fun, right? We're going to make a little mini record player, okay? So I got this like nice little art piece that I'm super good at art with, and illustrated this, spent all day on this. So if you say anything bad about me in the comments, I will never forgive you. Please do not drop a comment, and please do not talk about how cool my art is, okay? Let's just make it even funkier. There we go. Yeah, no, we're gonna do that. Okay, cool. Okay, so we want to make a record player. Remember what that looked like over here? So we drag this guy on, boom, it's turning, right? And then we can drag it off. That'd be cool too. Let's go make that dragging off too. All right, so first what we need to do is create a component out of this, because in order to get a thing that automatically is going to be turning constantly, we need to have a siloed animation, right? Because when we're dragging the needle onto it, right? Let me pull that back up really quick. Because when we're pulling the needle on, it's currently off right now. It's not rotating. And then now we turn it on, and it is rotating. And then we can leave it here, and it's going to keep spinning all around and around and around, right? Now, the stuff that I set up was a little bit of a mess, but maybe we can clean this up even more, right? So let's try that, and then let's try to also turn it off if we want. So, okay. So let's get it on. So we're going to just basically turn it into a component, Command or Control Alt and K. Okay, K. Command Option K. Command Option K. There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna rename this over to Record. We'll switch back over to the design and press Add Property. Create a variant. And we'll rename this variant to rotated state. Yeah, we'll just call it rotated state. That sounds good. I'm going to duplicate this, Command or Control D, and then we're going to call this second. Okay, we'll call this first, the old default one. Okay, I'm going to just put this in an auto layout so that it's easier to work with and visualize. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so we've got the first one here and the second one's here. So we've got our records and they're sitting here. So if we were to animate this, nothing would happen because nothing's rotating, okay? So just press Enter when you're selecting that and drag it around. And what we're doing now is we're moving it around, right? And we can't just move it to 365 or 360 degrees turn because that's still not going to animate anything. According to Figma, it's going to like kind of try to find the path of least resistance on the movement. So we want it to move in a clockwise direction. And so if we just move it here, then it's going to actually move counterclockwise slightly, right? We don't want that. So we want to move this, actually, we want to turn this about all the way to here, roughly. I usually do like about 50 to like about 45 degrees, I think. No, other way. Let's try 90 degrees. Okay, and we're gonna make four clicks. So we're gonna make it that, then we're gonna make it that, then we're gonna make it that, and then we're gonna make it go back home, right? So okay, 90-degree turn. Okay, third. We'll rename that third. Press Enter. We'll make this another 90-degree turn. So 180. Okay, duplicate this. Fourth. Okay, press Enter, and we'll do minus 90 again. Was that 270? Or just positive 90, okay. And yeah, okay. And then we should be able to loop it back. Let's just give this a try. So press Shift E, and we're now in prototyping land. I'm gonna just move this over. Again, put an after delay of 0, make it linear. We'll just start with 500 milliseconds, see how that feels. Right. And since we're moving the same amount of rotation, as long as it's set to a linear, it should feel pretty smooth. It should feel pretty buttery. But now we just need to move this back so that way it's an after delay, and we set it to 0. And now let's see what happens. Okay, yo, that's perfect. Look at that, smooth, very smooth. Okay, cool. So let's go make our little record table, okay? So we'll put it in this. All right. Boom. Perfect. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now we just need to make our needle, right? So I'm gonna just drag a needle with the pen tool, and yeah, I'll probably keep it flat for now. This feels good though. So let's see, like if I were to rotate it, you know, would it sit on top? Yeah, that feels good. Okay, cool. So we're gonna sit it like that. Set it right here. We'll put that to a white, and I'm gonna press Control Alt 0 or fuck, and I'm gonna press Control Alt O or Command Option O. And that basically turned it into outlines, okay? And what that now lets us do is we can put a stroke on the outer side, and I'll put that at, I like to do like a inside and then set it to a black and put it at like 30 or 20 pixels or percent, because what that's gonna do is make it like, kind of like shade it a little bit. And I'm gonna also be able to border radius the edges, which looks really great. Okay. Cool. So last thing I want to do though is put a little like needle at the tip, right? So I'll duplicate it, and I'm going to press the pen tool again, and I'll just like pin it right here, and that's probably too small. Maybe that. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, pinned it. All right, and then now I'm just going to delete these guys. All right, perfect. That looks really good. Okay, so we've got our needle all set up, and it's looking really great. Let's just make sure that these both have fills. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's good. Okay, group those together, and so now we've got our needle. I'm gonna rename this to needle. Okay, sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this frame now and just simply put one right here, right? So I want to make sure though that it's like at the right point so that it like pivots properly, you know? Yeah, that's it. But we also need it to be like sitting on the track. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. Delete the old needle. And now we're ready to go. Okay, so Shift E, we're on prototype now, and I'm gonna just move this from this point, right? So now what that's doing is it's letting us do it from the needle, right? And so I could press on drag, and now it will basically drag over to it and hopefully trigger the animation. Wait, it's already triggering. That's funky. We do not want that, do we? No, we don't. Why is that happening then? Well, it's because the animation's already happening, right? It's already clicking on. And so what we need to do is have a 0 state on this, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And they're basically constantly doing an after delay prototype transition until it gets to the next one, and then it automatically goes again. Well, we want to duplicate this, right? So now we'll move this to the top. And so now we're going to drop the after delay from this, right? Pretty easy. And then we're just going to turn this rotated state to 0, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see the prototype now that basically all of them are kind of moving right to the next one, and then this one's looping back to the first. But we still have a 0 which is disconnected, which we want that to be the thing because we don't want it to be moving, right? So then we just need to make sure that over on here we've got our rotated state. We don't set it to first, we set it to 0. So what that means is now it's not rotating anymore. And when we drag this over, once we let go, boom, it's playing. Very, very smooth. It's like I know what I'm doing. Let's see what happens if we just put a little drag back, right? Will that work too? Yes. Wait, it keeps moving though. Why is that? Well, it's because it's like state management is tough inside of Figma. And yeah, look at that. It kind of like really bugged out there. So the way we could really override this is if we set it like a variable to it as well, so that we can always be checking if it's supposed to be rotating or not. Most people would kind of leave it here and be like, this is good enough. We can probably just leave it here, but we're not most people. So we're going to stop and we're going to go create a variable just to be able to make this work. So let's just keep it in the loader colors. Maybe we rename this. We'll rename the collection to micro interactions. Okay, we're going to create a Boolean variable, and we're going to call this plain. Okay, so basically, we're sitting here at playing. Everything is false. Everything is false, which is fine, right? We want that to be the case. This is not mode based here. What we're going to do is actually do a logic check inside of the prototype to make sure that that it should be playing, right? Because here it should be playing. It should not be playing here. So how do we do that? Well, first off, when you set the on drag, we need to give a little logic situation to here. So we're going to set a variable. We're going to set our variable of playing to true. Okay, we'll move that to the top. Perfect. Then we're going to set another one down here when we're turning it off. Like when we're pulling the needle off, we want to set another variable of playing to false. Okay, perfect. Move that to the top again before it moves on. Let's just make sure nothing broke. Okay, something broke. Well, that's a bummer. And it's because we've got a drag situation. Okay. How do we fix this? Okay, we need to set a little transitional state inside of these two. So we're going to set a little proxy thing inside of this. Okay, so we're going to be dragging it back and forth into this one, and that's going to be the logic check. Okay, so we're dragging it. We move it onto the thing, right? But this one still is at 0. Okay, and then we're going to basically set a quick little after delay right away that moves over to here once that's done. And it's at this point that we can do our logic check. Okay, so let's playing equals true. Move that up. All right. So let's just confirm that that worked. Okay, so we move this over. I'm going to remove this set variable. On drag. Perfect. Okay, let's see. So on drag, Yes. Okay, so that worked. So let me just run through what I just did really quick. So the reason is we need to do a logic check of is playing variable true, then run it, right? And for now, we're still haven't got into that stuff yet. But what we need to do is we need to make the drag go, and then we need to update the logic so that the logic checking works, right? But whenever inside of Figma, you cannot have a interaction that transitions to another frame and then run additional logic, right? We have to run the logic before we move to the next frame. Well, that's difficult on a drag interaction because drag interaction is happening as you're transitioning. It's like kind of like a linear thing, right? So there's no end or beginning that can be hit where like it would need to be like here's the whole transition. The logic would need to happen like right about here, and there's no way to do that. So what we have to do inside of Figma is basically make a drag interaction, just a dummy, simple drag interaction that moves to here. And then from there, we want to set an instant after delay that will move it over here, right? To move it to the next one, which is the actual spot that it's actually playing. But the problem is too, is we also need to set that, the logic check, or the logic action right there, which basically transitions it into playing equals true. So hope that makes sense. I think it should. And so I'm going to like just kind of tree it backwards now. We're going to do the same thing right here, but instead of sending it, I'll actually visualize this for you guys too. Is we'll put it like this. So we'll put an arrow there, okay. And then we've got an arrow here, right? Now this, when we drag it off, right? We want it to be dragged off, right? So we'll move this guy back. Perfect. So when we drag this guy off, it's going to do the logic update, and then it's going to send it back to the home. All right? Boom. Nice little visualization for you. Okay, so now what we'll do is switch over here. So on drag, it's going to move into this frame instead, right? And then this is going to be our quick little check, right? So there's no longer going to be a drag interaction. So in fact, we'll probably delete this drag interaction entirely. And we're going to set this. So playing is now going to be set to false because we're going backwards, right? And then we're going to move it into frame. This would be helpful if I rename my layers. So let's off, but checking. Okay, on, and then on, but checking. Perfect. Okay, so let's just make sure that we're going to the right one. Navigate to off, but checking. Haha, I went to the wrong one. Wait, no, it should be off. It should be fully off. Yeah, because we're currently off, but checking. Okay, so you can see here that it's going on drag, does a logic check, then sends it over. Then we're on drag, does a logic update, and then moves over. So perfect. So over here, we just need to make sure that we're still on rotating state, which is 0. So that's perfect. That's what we want. Okay. So now we'll just do a little quick update over here. Okay. So I'm going to switch over. I'm going to do that little trick that I was doing earlier. So I'm going to drop this auto layout and move it over here. And we're just going to move these guys like slightly a little bit just to like more quickly visualize the prototype interactions. Okay, cool. Okay, so for this one, we're moving it down. So we need to set a state check, right? So we're going to set check if else, okay? So if playing is true, double equals. Double equals is basically saying if it is this thing, continue, okay? So if it's moving, or if it's playing, then continue rotating, right? If it's not, we're going to change to 0. Okay? Perfect. So, does that make sense? So if we're currently playing, right, which we've worked out the logic over here. So if we're currently playing, move it to the next thing. Otherwise, go back to 0. Okay? Now we'll do the same thing right here. So I'm going to lock it down. So we're going to do check if else. Okay. So if playing is true, double equals true. Move the change the third into there. Otherwise, we're going to change the property back to 0. Okay. And should we set these to instant? I've got it set as instant. I think instance. Well, no. Let's just we're clean here. We're very particular people, and as a particular person, we need to make sure that we're animating everything perfectly. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and do that transition for us. Okay. So playing is double equal true. All right. Boom. Okay, and then we're going to add an action. We're going to change to 4. Smart animate. Okay, one last one. Plus, check if else. Playing equals to true. Move it in there. Otherwise, change to 0. You know what's actually cool is this one is going to look like it's the same as 1, right? But it's not going to be the same as 1. That's what's really cool. Nice little fun fact for you. So now this should just work. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we're on. It's playing. It's running. It's going proper. I mean, there's a little bit of a jump, but you know, it's okay. It's kind of bugging out here, though. I don't know why it won't play for me. Let's see why it's not playing. On drag. You know what's really nice to do? I've talked about this before, but let's just like say if playing is true, and we just got to make sure that we're putting it on everything, okay? And how we do that is we're going to, instead of having typography shown here, we're going to basically just, we can't actually show it, can we? Okay, here's what we can do. We can say that this thing is playing, and then right-click on the appearance eyeball and do playing, okay? So just make sure you paste that on all of these, okay? Here we go. Let's test. All right, so it's playing. Off. Perfect. Okay, so playing is... Oh, you know why? Is it? Yes. So we've actually set it. That's why. So we've set the logic to where it's going here, but then this logic is an extra layer of logic, right? Which is essentially saying, hey, like, we're actually going to change frames here. We're not just running it off of a single prototype interaction. And so what we're doing in the silo is we're basically stopping it entirely, and then we're putting it over here and allowing you to still like move it over, right? And so we just need to make sure that we somehow get it back to updating the logic on the inside. I'm trying to think of like how to do that. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible to fix this bits out of Figma. Like, right, we can turn it on and it's playing, right? We can turn it off and that's cool, but it still won't work if we turn it back on, right? We're gonna have to reset the prototype every time, right? And there's no way to like force a reset, right? Yeah, I think this one stumped me. If you can think of a way to fix this, and drop it in the comments, because that'd be so freaking cool. So would love to know if you could fix that. I don't think it's possible though. From my pea brain, it won't work. So we did get a lot done though, right? We got it to where it's not turning on. It's now playing, right? And then we can always pull it off and it'll stop playing. And then yeah, like I mean that's pretty cool, right? The trouble is, you know, turning it back on, right? As a record player it is. But, you know, you get it. You get it. We did it. We did our best. We did our best bet. Okay, so last thing that I want to do is just a simple little one, toggle switches. Toggle switches are dope. Very, very cool things to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to recreate this little animation that's going to allow us to move all of this together, okay? So I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to basically recreate all of this so that you guys can watch me while I work, okay? I'm just going to like, you know, randomize it. Okay, cool. Just so that we're playing straight up, okay? So I'm actually going to rebuild that toggle too, but we'll start by, let's put these all in an auto layout really quick. Okay, we're gonna size this guy down way big, way small, way small. And then we're gonna put a toggle right next to it. Okay, so we're gonna put this inside of a frame like this. Just keep it easy for us. We just went through a lot of craziness over there. Okay, on the record player. I don't want to think about that record player anymore, even though I'm thinking about it. So I made a frame. That's a nice little rotation. Let's put it on. Well, actually, no. It's gonna be off. So let's put it on a white with maybe like a 30% fill. Perfect. 50% fill is looking good. Okay. Now let's put it at 100% white on just the border. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. So inside of there, we're gonna put a little handle to be able to turn that toggle. Right. Make that set to the FFFF. Right. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Cool. So we've got a little toggle. Looks pretty good. Maybe we set actually, yeah, let's set a little like darker fill, so it kind of feels like almost like a shadow, you know? Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Perfect. Hey, look at that. We're designing things, okay? There's a nice little toggle. Right now it is currently off, so actually should be to the left. By the way, I've gone rounds with some people on whether the left or right is a toggle off, and I actually saw a billboard, and it was the most egregious thing I've ever seen. The billboard was it said turn your phone off when texting. It was like this. And I was like, guys, like that's on. A toggle handle to the right is on, right? Right on, left off. So just always do that, okay? And if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Sorry, I'm vibing today. We're feeling pretty good. So yeah, now what I'm doing is just setting a nice little auto layout border, little box to it, so that way it feels kind of a little border on the center, little horizontal divider. That way we set it so that we're really like locking ourselves into a separate section, right? That's why we need that. So I'm gonna just maybe brighten this bad boy up. Yeah, that looks good. Put this that feels pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna probably shrink this down just a little bit. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Okay. So currently we're on advanced options, off. Advanced options are off. Okay. So we'll go ahead and duplicate this frame over here. And then we're going to grab all these guys over here. So we'll press Shift A. We'll make those like this, like a new set of icons, right? And we're going to put literally just cut it and paste it into this box. And I'm just going to double check. Okay, 47 pixels. So we'll just bump this down to 47. All right. Easy peasy. Now we need to turn this toggle on, because on is to the right. Okay, on is to the right. Just remember that. Put this at maybe we go with vibey blue. It's kind of indigo. Nice. Advanced options are on. And I'm going to press K, and we're now scaling this, right? So it's going to have this nice little effect where these guys are going to come in, and it's going to scale down, okay? Pressing Shift E, now we're back in prototype land. We're going to press on click. First time using on click today, that's great. And we'll do a gentle. Gentle is always super nice. I've always struggled with getting developers to recreate it though. But it's just, it's one of those things that just looks so cool. So let's just demo it. Boom. Okay. And we can't get back actually. Shoot. Okay. So, oh, and actually, you know what? I did it on the whole frame. We need to put it on just the toggle. Okay. Send it back on just the toggle as well. Okay, let's see how this looks. Perfect. Wait, that looks ugly. You know why? Because the thing does not live inside of the box previously. This is Smart Animate 101, guys. Okay, and it's because it's over here. So I always just drop it in, and then I'll do a basically ignore auto layout or absolute position it, and then we can fade it out as well. Let's see how this looks. Cool, that looks pretty good. But you see how it kind of goes outside of the box? Normal people might think that they're okay just moving on from this, but we're not normal people, you and I, right? You and I, we're going to make sure that this thing is cropped, okay? And so just one thing that I wanted to call out too is if we crop it on one side, it's still going to be showing, right? Well, why is that? It needs to be cropped on both sides. So clip contents needs to be checked on both sides, okay? There we go. Nice. Looking very, very beautiful. One other cool thing that might be worth doing for you too, if you're a non-normal person like me, is to actually put an extended spacing on the left. So it actually like not only does the whole thing scale, but the thing also moves in, and it's like one of those little tiny effects that like you see that it moves also.
It moves also.
We could even take that a step further and also increase the gap between them. It's hard to visualize what's happening. Basically, what I'm doing is expanding this guy right here, right? But yeah, basically, yeah, it's at 115. That's definitely bigger. So let's see how that looks now. Oh, you see how it like bounces? That's very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, cool. There you go. We got an advanced toggle for y'all. Pretty dope. Go add that into one of your designs. Let me know. Let me know where you put it. Let me know where you put it. That's it, y'all. Hope you had a fun time. A great place to find micro interactions for reference. Designspells.com. Look at this stuff. This is so cool. Look, nice little bump, right? So just little stuff like this. It's like it's hard to like get people to buy in on these, you know. But it's like, you know, and actually, look, this is where I got this whole idea from was Retro. They do this on their home screen. Actually, you see that what they did? They put a variable. We could put a variable on the text to update to. We're not normal people, and that's okay. That's okay that we're not normal people. So we're going to update this. you bet your sweet little face. We're gonna be changing this. So, welcome. We're gonna call this, hey, welcome. Okay, but then on mode 2, it's gonna be like, yo. All right, and then mode 3 is gonna be like, sorry. Okay, this is perfect. And because we've got those on modes already, we literally just have to assign these texts to variables, which will be the welcome variable, okay? And yeah, let's see what happens. Sorry. Well, hey, welcome, yo. It's like that's the thing about micro interactions is like if you're trying to design micro interactions, like you got to just go for it, right? Because like this is so much better. This is so much better. Right? I just love it. It's the little things. It's the little things that count. And you know, just kudos to Retro for pulling this out of me and us and all of us. So, but yeah. Anyways, go to Design Spells. Great site to reference some fun micro interactions. And yeah, hope you got something out of this. See you next time.